Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to go over the Sunday night game between the Minnesota Vikings and the Dallas Cowboys. I'll be completely honest, I did not want to do this game whatsoever. But it's not about me, it's about you guys. And so we're going to go over it. We're going to walk through offensively, defensively, and overall how each team looked. And then we're going to circle back and go over the key turning points that happened that shifted momentum in this game. My biggest questions coming in for Minnesota: could Kirk Cousins win a big game against a backup quarterback at home that actually mattered? And for the Dallas Cowboys, could they continue to roll and make it 6 straight wins even without their star quarterback? If you guys have any questions or comments or disagreements with me, please drop that down below. I'd love to engage with you. If you are new or if you haven't done it yet, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out, enables me to do what I love so I can keep bringing you the content that you love. And with all of that out of the way, let's get into this Relentless Rundown. We will go ahead and start with my Minnesota Vikings so that I can get this out of the way. Offensively, Minnesota was a dumpster fire. Their game plan was very vanilla. It looked like something that was fit for maybe a preseason game. I think that maybe even high school coaches could have done a better job than what Clint Kubiak worked out. After an opening possession where they looked awesome, taking shots down the field and moving the ball with ease, it all kind of fell apart. After that, they seemed pretty content to just kind of pound the rock into a wall and then throw like 3 to 5 yard screen passes, if they got that, because they lost yardage on a bunch of screen passes too. That made it really easy for the Cowboys to be able to defend them. CJ Ham, the Vikings fullback, had more receptions than Justin Jefferson. That is the same Justin Jefferson that just had one of the greatest wide receiver seasons as a rookie in NFL history. He finished with 2 catches for 21 yards. On the ground, Minnesota was fine, but they were predictable. If it was first down, they were probably going to run it into the wall. Overall, Dalvin Cook was held to under 80 yards rushing and averaged just over 4 yards a carry. The Vikings looked like they were absolutely obsessed with calling play action. Even if it was 3rd down and 13, they were still pretending like they were going to hand the ball off. I think that was probably to try to help Kirk Cousins and lighten his load a little bit, but Cousins didn't need that help because he was screwing it up plenty all on his own. He finished with 184 yards passing and, to the surprise of absolutely no one, crumbled under the lights when it mattered most once again. It was really just utterly pitiful, for lack of a better term, and I'm going to stop now before I start crying. So let's move on to the defense. The Vikings were fairly stout up front. Their game plan was clearly to stop the run at all costs, and that was probably the only thing that they did in this game that actually worked. Now, of course, with that comes the risk of being open in the secondary to long plays, which the Cowboys were able to capitalize on. They were able to hold the Cowboys to just 78 yards on the ground, and they averaged less than 3.5 yards a carry. So that was the good. Outside of that, though, they got absolutely torched by Cooper Rush. Minnesota could not get off the field on 3rd down. They allowed 7 out of 14 for the Cowboys, and many of those were on 3rd down and long situations. One of the key ones being on a 3rd and 8 to start the second half, a 73-yard bomb to Cedric Wilson. This deflated the Vikings early on in the 3rd quarter. The pass rush for Minnesota was able to get home at times, and they actually racked up 3 sacks, which was a great addition. One of them causing a fumble to give Minnesota's offense awesome field position late in the 4th quarter. Overall, they played pretty well. However, in true Minnesota fashion, when the game was on the line and it mattered most, they gave up a very long touchdown drive without much resistance to Cooper Rush, and it ended in a touchdown that sealed the game for Dallas. This was an absolutely embarrassing performance for a team that came into the season with high hopes. In a game they had to win with tons of advantages, they came up short. Minnesota is now 3-4, which unfortunately means that they're still in the thick of things in the NFC wildcard race. In reality, it is time to fire Coach Zimmer. It is time to get rid of Clint Kubiak and actually go out and try to attempt to find an offensive coordinator that actually has real qualifications. And it's time to get rid of Captain Kirk. He has proven time and time again that when things actually matter, when games are on the line, that he's going to come up short and get the L. The Vikings face the Ravens, the Chargers, and the Packers over the next 3 weeks. So if there's any mercy at all left, they lose those 3 games and at 3-7 are clearly out of the playoff race. I think that is almost a certainty given how they played in this one. If that happens, maybe that finally forces the Wilfs' hands and they can move on and try again. Let's now move to the Cowboys side of things. And for Dallas, the offense did a great job of helping Cooper Rush out and keeping the ball in the hands of its playmakers. Their game plan of basically keeping it simple, staying ahead of the sticks, and converting a couple key third downs when necessary worked to perfection. Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb combined for 14 catches for 234 yards and a score. And they absolutely dominated Minnesota's secondary. Cooper Rush did a really good job of getting him the ball, but honestly there was so much separation that he didn't need to do much. Dallas committed to the run even when it wasn't working, and that enabled those passing lanes and time for Rush to hit his receivers. He finished with 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick, but when they needed him the most, he responded, taking Dallas on that final touchdown drive. Dallas's defense was stifling after the opening possession. They tackled well and did not allow much after the catch. They also kept Dalvin Cook contained and didn't allow him to get into the open field. Without any threat of the Vikings trying to push the ball downfield, they were able to just play contain, keep them in front, and make the tackle short of the sticks. They allowed Minnesota just 4.6 yards per play, and they bent at times, but they never broke. They also held Minnesota to just 10 first downs offensively, and if it wasn't for some boneheaded personal fouls, some of them questionable mind you, late in the fourth quarter, they would have held Minnesota to just 6 points after that first possession. This defense has talent at every level. The Cowboys probably came into this one feeling that defeat was a very real possibility without Dak Prescott back there. But they showed that they are able to beat you in multiple ways. Even losing the turnover battle 2-0 and committing 11 penalties for almost 96 yards, they overcame. This was a statement win to the rest of the NFC, and now Dallas is squarely in the mix for the overall #1 seed in the conference. With their next 2 games against Denver and Atlanta, I expect the Cowboys to be 8-1 going into a showdown with the Chiefs, who have looked very beatable almost the entire season. Right now I have Dallas as the 3rd best team in the NFC, behind only Green Bay and the Rams. Let's now move on to some of the key turning points in this game, and we're actually going to jump straight to the second half, as after Minnesota's opening possession where they scored a touchdown and looked really good, not much happened. At the start of the third quarter, Dallas is down 10-3 with the ball. On 3rd down and 8, Cooper Rush drops back to see a wide open Cedric Wilson streaking across the field. He throws a strike and it is all she wrote. No one is even close to him, and he's able to go into the end zone basically untouched to tie things up for Dallas. This absolutely is a crushing blow to the Vikings, as it takes all the air out of their sails and completely swings momentum in the favor of the road team. Slot cornerback Mackenzie Alexander makes a horrible play to give so much space to Wilson, and then there is no safety back to help, and this was just a horrible breakdown by Minnesota, and it resulted in a crucial touchdown. Let's now move to early in the fourth quarter. We are all tied up at 13 apiece, and Dallas has the ball. They start at their own 10, but they're able to move the ball fairly easily, moving it all the way to midfield, and this is when disaster strikes for the Cowboys. Xavier Woods, former Cowboy who already had a pick in this game, blitzes from the safety position and is able to absolutely level Cooper Rush, causing a fumble and a turnover for the Vikings, who now have awesome field position and start at their own 48. There's about 10 minutes to go in the game at this point. So what does Minnesota do? They've already gone back-to-back 3-and-outs prior to this possession. They're tied up with the ball past midfield. So Captain Kirk, in true primetime form, proceeds to go back on a play action and just loft the ball away, giving an illegal grounding and making it 2nd down and 23. It was an absolutely no-mind play that has become regular when the thing matters most. Minnesota would end up having to punt after they ran it on 3rd down and 23, and they completely squabble the excellent field position with a chance to take the lead. Dallas would get the ball back, and Minnesota actually gets lucky because on 3rd down and 9, CeeDee Lamb is wide open over the middle of the field, likely would have had a 1st down with his yard after the catch ability. However, he drops the ball, and Dallas would have to punt to Minnesota. Minnesota on the next possession would get lucky a couple more times, as there were a couple questionable personal fouls called on the Cowboys that would move Minnesota down the field with ease. With 5:21 to go in the game, Minnesota has 1st down and goal from about the 3-yard line. And this is where my frustrations with the play calling absolutely reached a tipping point. On 1st down and goal, they run right at the middle for -3 yards. So it's still 2nd down and goal, ball at about the 7-yard line, and they throw a excellent screen pass for -3 yards. Now facing 3rd down and goal from the 11, Minnesota doesn't even attempt to get the ball in the end zone. Cousins rolls out, throws it about 4 yards downfield to Thielen, who is tackled short. So of course they just settle for a gimme field goal and make it 16-13. Even with all of the help in the world, they couldn't punch it into the end zone, and it's 16-13 Vikings with just under 3 minutes to play. So that's good, right? You think, okay, well, we still have Cooper Rush back there, so he's not going to drive it down the entire field, right? Yeah, that would be nice. However, Dallas gets the ball. They have a miracle catch of 33 yards by Amari Cooper, which hits Bashaud Breeland, the Vikings quarterback, right in the chest, bounces off of him right to Cooper for a big gain. The very next play, there is a 20-yard catch by Cooper, and Dallas is already in business and almost in field goal range with just a couple plays. An offensive holding call by Dallas pulls him back and makes it 2nd down and 13. Dallas tries a screen pass, and Zeke is tackled for a 3-yard loss, making it 3rd down and 16, and you're thinking, worst case scenario, the Vikings go into overtime yet again. However, the genius that is Mike Zimmer decides to call not 1 timeout, but 2 timeouts on defense, back to back. Now, I had never seen this before, so I didn't know this was a thing, but actually that becomes a defensive delay of game penalty, making it 3rd down and 11. Still a very easy stop for that Vikings defense. However, on that play, they dump it off to Zeke, who is 10 yards shy of the 1st down when he catches it. But instead of making the tackle, he breaks 3 attempts and gets the 1st down. The very next play, Amari Cooper is open in the back of the end zone, and the Dallas Cowboys steal this one from the Vikings. It was an absolutely pathetic display by the Vikings defense, and even worse by Mike Zimmer for deciding that 1 timeout wasn't enough. With 51 seconds left, the Vikings would have the ball with no timeouts, and not even a Minneapolis miracle could save us on this one. They have a false start, then a 5-yard completion where they can't get out of bounds, so the clock is continuing to run. Then they have a genius 3-yard completion where they can't get out of bounds, and the clock continues to run. And to top it all off, on 4th down and 6, Kirk Cousins throws the ball out of bounds, and the game is over. Wow. Just wow. This was a spirited performance by an undermanned Cowboys team without their star quarterback. Their defense was able to contain Minnesota's supposed high-powered offense to just 3 field goals after giving up that opening drive touchdown. Minnesota looked lifeless much of this game, and Dallas's game plan worked as Rush beat the Vikings coverage early and often, propelling the Cowboys to a victory and my soul into destruction. This was clearly a tough one for me to watch, but I hope you guys out there were able to enjoy it. If you have any questions, comments, or disagreements, drop those down below. If you are new or haven't got to it yet, please like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate your support. It helps me out a bunch on our road to 100 subscribers. This is Relentless Press. I am your host, Abraham Opatz, and we'll see you next time.